Hello and welcome back to the Draw Pod. It's me, your host, Elyse. In this episode, I'll be chatting while doing some drawings of some of my favorite stuffed animals. If you're new here, this is a visual podcast where I draw something and chat with you as I go. You really don't have to watch the video to know what's going on, and if you prefer to listen to it on like a podcast app, it's available everywhere. If you would prefer to watch the YouTube video, though, check out my channel, which is linked in the description of this podcast. It's just my name, Elyse Andrews. Also, if you would like to see the final image, check out my art Instagram at Elyse_draws. So, I mentioned in the description of the last podcast that I am officially giving more structure to the podcast. Producing this pod has been a very fun ride, and I've spent the past 13 episodes really ironing out my branding and ideas. If you didn't notice, there's some new art for the podcast. Anyway, each episode will start with some segments about my life, something new I learned, and a book update. After that, I'll get into the topic for the episode, which is just something I want to talk about. This something will definitely relate to art in some way. So today's topic and subject of the drawing are stuffed animals. I'm a proud supporter of stuffed animals for all ages, and I love to draw them. I think they're really cool to draw, a cool concept, whatever. But we'll get into that, but first, some updates, some little segments about me. So things have been going well recently. On Monday, I went to San Antonio for a dentist appointment, and that was really fun. I returned my library locker key after several months and got to pick up some of my favorite sandwiches in the entire world from the Station Cafe. If you're in San Antonio, if you're passing through there, pick up a sandwich there. I get the turkey chupacabra. So good. But anyway, going to campus reminded me, though, that I'm really thankful to have graduated when I did. And I'm very interested in seeing what next semester looks like what this semester looks like for students at my school. So we'll see. But last week I talked with career services and got a kind of clearer view of what my fall is going to look like and what I should focus my time on. I know I've mentioned this a couple of times in different forms, but I've been ironing it out. But anyway, from this boost of career motivation, I focused a lot of this week sort of on growing as a graphic designer. I'm spending a lot of my time researching some freelance websites, which I'm still not totally sure how I feel about them. I think I might want to maybe do more freelance illustration rather than graphic design, but we'll see. But I've been watching videos about being a graphic designer, UX designer, all that stuff, and just making more art. So that's been really fun to get back into doing that. And kind of with career services, I talked a lot about how I think for this fall, it's just going to be about YouTube, podcasts, and tutoring my cousins. And if a job opportunity comes up from a company that I like and that I would love to work for because I align with their values, everything like that, then I will apply for it. But I have officially put my foot down for applying to jobs that just randomly pop up on LinkedIn. And we'll get to that story about how I got scammed in a job interview, where I guess I almost got scammed. We'll get into that. I think that's pretty much it for my life update. The only other thing is that I don't know if it's how I'm organizing my time or something different, but lately I've been feeling less stressed out, so that's a really good thing. I've kind of been making YouTube videos in batches and kind of looking at it on a month scale instead of, looking at making one video every single week. I like making a few, focusing 1 week on making 3 or 4 videos and then putting them out. So that's been good. Here's something new that I learned is, if you are in the job market, you're looking around, looking for jobs, and you receive an email from a company that says that you made it through the kind of resume process on LinkedIn and they now want you to schedule an interview, make sure you look at the email address that you're receiving that email from, because here's kind of the story of this. I think it was Tuesday, I had scheduled an interview for this very realistic scam thing, but basically they had me, I should have checked the email address, but Google kind of hides it from you, and I'm surprised that it made it through Google's filters or anything. But anyway, so I got this email, I set up an interview, there wasn't anything too sketchy about it, some of the punctuation was a little off, but nothing as bad as I had seen in the past from kind of scammy emails. So set up this interview, and the day comes, I, got dressed up from the waist up. I put on makeup. I had my hair looking decent, and I was ready for an interview with this job that would be a remote graphic designer position. And first they told me to answer these like screening questions, and they were like 21 questions, all related to graphic design. Honestly, very good questions to ask. So I was like, dang, this is pretty legit. I didn't have any doubts in my mind really up until that point. I just thought it was kind of an interesting interview process, but I had an hour to fill that out. So I did that. I answered all the questions, gave them some great answers, sent it back in, and then I received another email saying that I would get an email back within an hour with the hiring board's decision. And I was like, cool. So I do some yoga, and I kind of chill out because, I was kind of nervous about this because it was one of my first interviews. And so I, about 45 minutes after I got that other email from them, they said, well, congratulations, you have been hired. And I was like, what? Because, I thought that after they had done that screening process, maybe they would ask me to interview, just to do an in-person interview to get to know me. But no, I got the job, and, a lot of red flags popped up, mostly because, well, one, there were still those punctuation things, but the pay was $40 an hour, and for a graphic designer, and that's a lot of money. I'm not going to be getting paid that much as an entry-level graphic designer. That's a lot. But there's that, and just something seemed kind of weird, so I called my dad, and I was like, hey, could you kind of read over this email? It seems a little weird, like, cool, I got hired maybe, but yeah, check it out. And I also emailed Career Services, and they just got back to me a day ago, so I had to just talk to my dad about it. But anyway, the first thing he said was, yeah, it seems kind of weird. Would you like hover over the email and see what it is? And of course, it is from a Gmail address. It's not from a actual company address. So that was, at that point I was like, yep, this is fake. But just to like double check, and also to let the company know, because it was a real company. I called the company and talked to their secretary, and she was like, oh yeah, our LinkedIn was hacked like a few weeks ago. We're working on getting it fixed. Sorry for any inconveniencing of you, and there isn't a job opening right now. And I was like, cool, glad you're working on it, bye. And then I was sad, again, one of my first interviews that I've done, and it just did not turn out well at all, and it wasn't even real. So that kind of made me bummed, but that was kind of the final putting up with LinkedIn moment of the past few months, just because I think I've gotten a little addicted to it and kind of sucked into it, but it's just not. I was talking to my friend the other day, and like LinkedIn just provides no gratification, unlike like Instagram, gratification there. LinkedIn, no. Anyway, it's not good. It's not good for me to have it on my phone. It's a good resource to have on my computer, and good to have an account on it and use it to connect with people, because that's how I've done a majority of my networking and kind of like having my calls with people. But oh my gosh, this was just not fun. I don't trust LinkedIn anymore. And now I've been getting more emails kind of like that, or like messages from recruiters on LinkedIn, and I'm like, I will not even follow through with this, because honestly, I need to find a company that I like, and just know that I would want to work for them, basically. So anyway, all this aside, that is what I learned this week, and I hope you learn as well, that do just make sure to check the email addresses of any companies that are sending you emails about job related things, because I think people are definitely being very predatory right now on a very horrible job market. So anyway, just a quick little book update from me. I wrote on here, hopefully I finish Nudge by the time I record, but I have not finished it. But what I have finished reading is the book Alphas by Lacey Harrison. I mentioned it last week. But my friend Reed and I are rereading some of our favorite young adult novels from middle school and high school. And so it's been very fun. It's such a good book. I love it. Young adult books are so fun in that they really don't have to be realistic at all, and they're kind of playing into like a teen or a tween's like kind of wildest dreams, or just something that's like kind of, it's cool seeing how it was written for like how I would be so engaged with it at the time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I really liked it. I think it's great. It's a little ridiculous, but it brought back a lot of really good memories. It made me very happy to read. Also, I'm still reading Nudge, and the last thing is that I just got, so I'm doing the Bliss Bean book club, which I might have mentioned before. She's a great YouTuber. I love her stuff. And this upcoming, and I read the book Elsewhere by Rosita Boland because of it. But then this next month is, I think the book is called like Renaissance Mind or something like that. I wish I checked in before doing this, but it's kind of about, sort of being a multi-hyphenate person, like not just being a someone who has a niche, someone who only does one thing, who is an expert, but like someone who is really engaged with doing a lot of things. And I'm so excited to read it because I feel like that describes me very well. And it has been something that I have kind of felt challenged with in the past few months with like job applications and stuff, and feeling like I simultaneously need to be a very specific designer, but I also need to have such a large variety of skills to be hired, probably because I need to stop looking at LinkedIn job postings. But I feel like everyone has to go through that phase. Anyway, so I'm really excited to jump into that book. I'm saving it for September, so I can start reading it with everyone else. But I guess for the rest of this month, I'm just going to finish Nudge, and then maybe I will move on to Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. So anyway, also, if you would like to keep up with my reading and my books, and you have one, I would love to friend you and have each other as mutual friends on Goodreads. I don't really know how to add you on it, but my name is just Elyse Andrews on there. So yes. Okay. Finally, diving into the specific topic for this episode, which is stuffed animals. I love stuffed animals, and I continue to collect them. In this this drawing that you're looking at me doing right now, maybe, or I'll just describe what I'm doing at this point. I'm drawing an aardvark stuffed animal. I'm drawing, the little piranha plant from Mario. I have that in like a little stuffed animal of it in a flower pot. That's really cute. I also have this pink dolphin named Pinky. And I forget what else I have in the drawing. But yeah, it's fun. It's cute. I really restricted my color palette for this episode, this drawing, and I think that's probably the best thing for me to do. I still kind of struggle when I have way too many colors to work with. I feel like they're just not very harmonious, but with the restricted color palette, I'm really just using like purples, blues, and pinks in this one. Of course, those are my favorite colors. As I'm recording this, I'm currently wearing some leggings from Outdoor Voices that are literally purple, pink, and blue. So this was a fun one for me to draw. But yeah, I think stuffed animals are great. I think they're cute. I think it's funny that you can have like a model of like kind of a caricature of a real animal just like with you in your room. I don't know. But some of my specific cuties that I have that I wanted to talk about. So I have this aardvark from Nate. Oh, and I wanted to kind of mention briefly before that. So for me, like jewelry is something that I really love, and I love to receive as a gift because they kind of I like to wear them, and they remind me of the person that got them for me or the memory of them. And so yeah, I'm just going to tell you about some of my stuffed animals and like kind of the memories that come from them and the people that they remind me of. But so first, the aardvark from my boyfriend, Nathan. It was a really sweet gift that he got me, and he thought that it was an armadillo, I believe, when he purchased it. It was very sweet, though, and I do love my aardvark, so I think his name is Artie. I should probably know their names, but whatever. One of my all-time favorite stuffed animals, and it's one of the weirdest ones, and you've probably never seen anything like it before, is my monovirus. I got her because I had gone through mononucleosis, the monovirus, Epstein-Barr. I went through that twice, and then I got the stuffed animal, and then I have since gone through mono a third time. It's a cute personality trait of mine. But yeah, no, it's just this cute little pink fluff ball, and it has these eyelashes, and I think it's supposed to be cute kind of because it's like the kissing virus, the kissing disease. I know when I got it, I was not kissing anyone in my freshman year of high school, but anyway. The other stuffed animal that is not featured in this drawing also is Steven, who is my dinosaur. He is a brontosaurus. He's a blue brontosaurus. He's one of my favorite stuffed animals, and I got him in 2017 after I joined my sorority, and on bid day, I had my room decorated by my big, and she got me this brontosaurus, and my twin, who I didn't know was my twin at the time, she also got this T-Rex, and so we were like, haha, that's so funny that we got, like, the same kind of style of stuffed animals, but they're kind of different. I don't know. And then later we learned that we were twins. Also, I didn't even know who she was really at the time, but big shout out to Adele. Love you very much. But anyway, so yes, Steven, my brontosaurus, he's great, and he's just been a real part of my room decor for the past several years. And then since then, I've also kind of made it a tradition and got my little her own dinosaur, and then grand little her own dinosaur. So yeah. And then the last one I wanted to talk about is Pinky, and Pinky is one of my oldest stuffed animals. She came from a claw machine at Jim's, the like diner. First of all, Pinky is a pink dolphin whose eyes have like fallen out several times. And my mom had to like sew them back into place for me. It's really not a well crafted stuffed animal, but it was like my favorite stuffed animal. I used to be so into dolphins. I love this pink dolphin, and I love Pinky. Pinky's the best. But my little brother got her from the claw machine and Jim's for me, and he gave it to me, and that was really sweet. So I love Pinky. But yeah, so also a cool thing about stuffed animals and art, they were a big part of my senior show in one of my pieces called Storytime. I painted several of my stuffed animals that were on like a comforter, and I kind of, my idea with it was sort of comfort, and also I think the idea of people judging people for having stuffed animals is silly, just because they're so fun. So a lot of my 3 pieces kind of related to kind of my room, showing off parts of me, myself, who I am, and one of those was including my stuffed animal collection. So I really enjoyed painting that. They were really fun, and they're really fun to draw because to me they're like a I mentioned before, they're like a 3D cartoon version of something, but you have to draw them with dimension. So it's kind of like you have, say, a tiger, okay? It's a real animal of a tiger. And then to make them into then you kind of do like a cartoon drawing of them to make them into that stuffed animal, kind of the concept of it. And then then it's in 2D, but then you're moving it back into 3D whenever you make a stuffed animal. And then if you draw that stuffed animal, then you're kind of flattening it again and kind of manipulating its appearance once more and really changing what it is, if this makes sense. But I just think they take on a whole new feeling whenever you draw them. It's just kind of weird to draw a cartoon of something else. So I really enjoy doing that, and I will hopefully do more stuffed animal drawings in the future because they're great little things to include in still lifes. They're also useful models. If you have seen my illustration that I did for Trinity University Press, it's like this armadillo at a book, and it's reading, and it says, "Just keep reading." I actually used my aardvark, who my boyfriend confused with an armadillo. I used that to model the drawing that I was doing of that armadillo to kind of get an idea of the angles of it. So they're great models. I've sewn my own stuffed animal before whenever I was really into a little webcomic called Homestuck. We're not going to talk about it, but there was this little critter that I loved so much. Its name was Casey. It was a salamander, and it's this little yellow salamander, and someone posted a pattern of it on DeviantArt, and I was like, I have to do this. So I had my mom, take me to the store, take me to Michael's, and go get some felt, I think it was, and some of the stuffing for the stuffed animals, and I made it, and I did such a not great job with it because I didn't totally understand how sewing worked, but I kind of had an idea of what it was like. I think my issue was like I never cut off or like tied any of the thread. I don't really know what I did. I should have probably asked my mom for help. Anyway, but that was really cute and I still have it. It's still falling apart a little bit, but I'm very proud of it. But yeah, anyway, stuffed animals, their construction is so interesting too, and I wish I could make more plushies. And I think I'm just really into the idea of this like moving objects back and forth across 3D and 2D planes and kind of seeing how they change, but like doing this through a very squishy, plushy lens. I like the idea of like drawing something, making a plush out of it, drawing it again, and then maybe perhaps making a plush of that. So much information would be added and lost in each iteration. I think it's cool. Anyway, this has been quite a long episode. I think this is one of my favorite episodes that I've recorded so far, just because I had that spicy story about getting scammed. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this kind of new structure. Let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts about it, I would appreciate so much if you gave this podcast a review. If you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening to it on YouTube, make sure to give it a like. Thank you so much for listening. Big shout out to Ellie Arguello for checking out this episode of the podcast. She is a big supporter of mine and I love her very much. So big shout out. Anyway, I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.